This program was funded in part by the Florida Public Broadcasting Service, Incorporated.
Seems like most of us never forget our first fishing trip. Now recapture that magical time with Fishin Fun.
Tommy Phillips, Floyd Reese. Two men caught in a strange and lonely place. A place of night work. Watch Night Work, an original video drama made in Atlanta, Wednesday night at 10, here on Georgia Public Television.
They erased areas of your mind. They implanted new ideas. They literally took your mind to pieces and rebuilt it. And when they'd finished, they put you up and you confessed. You said you'd been misguided. You appealed to everyone to support the administration and hound out the traitors. Oh, they did a good job on you. You were very convincing. And then they took you back and erased even that.
What happened to the others?
In their benevolence, the Federation allowed them to emigrate to the outer worlds. Like your family, they were executed on arrival.
Why are you telling me this now?
Because we're preparing to move again.
Sunday night at 11 o'clock, only here on Georgia Public Television.
Good evening, I'm Richard Warner. This week, those of you who are members of Georgia Public Television will be receiving a special Members' Choice ballot. It'll have a list of special programs that are not a part of our regular schedule. It's your chance to cast your vote for the programs that you'd like to see on GPTV. Enclose your additional or renewal gift with your ballot and return it to GPTV before our Members' Choice polls close June 30th. We'll use your contributions to purchase the winners of this special election. Remember, cast your ballot in Members' Choice today.
This week is National Fishing Week, and here in Georgia, we're celebrating with free fishing days. On Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, any Georgia resident can fish anywhere in the state without a license. All you need are your old cane pole, a couple of hooks, and a handful of worms, or maybe some crickets. Come celebrate the fun. Take a kid fishing during National Fishing Week, and join our celebration here at Georgia Public Television as we bring you a lighthearted look at Fishin' Fun.
You're watching Georgia Public Television, Channel 14.
There you go. You get the pole and I'll get the bait. Well, maybe we can do something with those guys this morning.
Seems like most of us never forget our first fishing trip. That cool spring morning, we headed out with an old cane pole and a can full of worms fresh out of the backyard. Somehow the memories of that magic time never seem to fade. There wasn't much to know about fishing back then. It was enough just to sit there on the creek bank or next to the pond and pull in a few fish now and then. Through the years, though, things seem to have changed. Somehow fishing's gotten a whole lot more complicated. Today, there's lots of paraphernalia you can spend your money on. But fishing doesn't have to be any more expensive or any more complicated than it used to be. With a few worms or some crickets, a strong cane pole, a simple hook or two, and a special spot that's full of fish, you can have just as much fun as you did when you were a kid.
Look at this, 4 brims.
4 brims swim right up there to the bank.
4 little old brims.
Look, well, watch him. You're getting a bite. You see it?
Yep.
I bet you he got your bait. No, he didn't. All right, pull him, son. Pull him. You got him. You got a dandy this time. I mean, you got a dandy. Look at yonder. How about that? Bring him on in.
That was bigger than the first one.
Yeah, bring him on in. This one's bigger than the other one was. How about that?
Is that a shell cracker?
Oh, that's a bluegill.
Here on Lake Seminole in southwest Georgia, Jack Wingate has been running the Lunker Lodge since the year the lake was built. It's been the site of many a professional fishing tournament, and Jack himself is an expert fisherman. Why, he knows the ins and outs of some of the most difficult and challenging spots on the lake. But for pure relaxation, he grabs a cane pole and the closest available partner and sets out for an afternoon of fun.
Watch him. Watch him. He's touching it.
Yeah.
He's touching it.
Yep.
Wait a minute. Don't get in no hurry now. Wait now. Wait now. Wait. Wait. Wait.
All right,
Get him now. Get him. He's got him. He's got him. He's got him. Now then, look at that red belly. How about that? Bless his little heart, he eat it up good, didn't he?
Whether you fish with a cane pole, or an inexpensive rod and reel, or a fancy set of equipment you've managed to buy or borrow, you can increase your chances of success by learning a few things about the fish and their habits. By knowing when and where to try your luck, what kind of bait to use, and how to make a worm or cricket appear absolutely irresistible. You'll improve your odds.
You ever seen anybody thread a wiggler on a hook? Let's do this way. See that old big barnyard wiggler right there? Now, old Mr. Shellcracker, he loves that thing. Watch him wiggle. See that?
Just learning what the fish like, though, doesn't guarantee that you can catch them.
Now then. I bet you money he got your bait. Look at easy. You pulled too quick. You see? You pulled too quick. Let's look at this cricket. Now see what happened to your cricket? Look at that. He bit the belly, the soft part of the belly, and he won't never come back and get that top. Just get another cricket and put it on there.
He pulled it under.
He pulled it under. His cord went under. All right, let me have it.
It's all the cord.
You better at catching crickets than I am. See, the best way to do that? Stick him right in there and let him come right out his bottom down there, see? Now then, we'll get back out there.
If you're just starting out, you'll probably fish for more catfish, more crappie, and more brim than any other kinds of fish. These 3 groups are found in almost every stream and lake around the state, and there are more of them than all the other kinds of fish combined. Each one has its own peculiar habits, and learning as much about them as you can before you set out will help you bring home enough to fill up a frying pan.
You know why this is a good place to fish?
Why?
There's fish out there. You know why there's fish out there? There's little bait out there. There's food for them fish out there. You know why they're there?
Why?
There's weeds and grass and little insects falling off of these trees. They fall in the water. See the little brim? See that brim going by yonder? See?
Yeah.
That's why they're out there. There's something here for them to eat.
Brim, crappie, and catfish all have good eyesight, and they can pick out anything that looks the slightest bit unusual or out of place in the water. So when you offer them a cricket or a worm, you have to be careful to make it look as natural as possible.
You notice I haven't really had a good bite, have I?
Nope.
All right, I'm going to take both of these lines and put them in my hand. See there?
Mm-hmm.
This is mine, and this little thing right here is yours. Both of them got a cricket, got the same size hook on it, and you've been catching all the fish. Wonder why that is. That little bitty line right there, you see? You can't hardly see that thing. See it? Mr. Fish, he can't see it either. But he can see this old big line I got on here. But look at your little line. See there? Looks like sort of like that hook just hanging out there in midair. And them fish is smart in that clear water down there. Always fish with a little bitty line and a little bitty hook and a little bitty bait if you can. And you'll catch fish. Let me put it back out there for you. And let's get back to fishing. And you'll catch one right there.
If you want to learn more about fish and what they like, you can start by observing other fishermen and copying the techniques that work for them. But you learn best by doing. And doing means, quite simply, fishing. The more times you try your luck, the more experience you'll have to fall back on. And you'll begin to know what works and what doesn't. Sometimes, for instance, the fish just don't seem interested in the bait you're offering. And you need to find out why. Maybe it's because they don't feed during the time of day you're trying to catch them. Or maybe they simply don't like the crickets or worms or whatever it is you're using for bait. If you know things like when it's time to call it quits in one location and move on to a different spot, or when to fish at a different depth, you'll increase your chances of catching fish. A little knowledge can go a long way when it's time to plan a fishing trip. If you try your luck at the time and in the place the fish usually feed, and you offer them just the right kind of bait in just the right way, you'll have a good shot at catching fish. If you're interested in crappie, you'll find two kinds in Georgia waters, the black crappie and the white crappie. They look very much alike, and some of them weigh over 3 pounds. Now, two of their favorite foods are insects and small fish. And most anglers have their greatest success with minnows. Since crappie usually stay near some kind of protective cover, you'll want to try your luck near fallen trees or near areas where there's lots of brush in the water. The best time of year to fish for crappie is the early spring, when they congregate in large schools. But good fishing isn't limited to that time, because year-round, they travel in smaller schools. Crappie are so popular that anglers have christened them with more than 50 different names. And here in Georgia, they're commonly known as speckled perch. Catfish often weigh over 30 pounds, and they're found in lakes, rivers, and ponds throughout the state. Although they'll strike a worm or a minnow, just about anything goes when it comes to bait, especially anything that smells almost intolerable to the fishermen. Catfish seem to prefer things like congealed chicken blood, or pieces of rotten fish, or even Limburger cheese.
You getting a bite? Come on, atta boy. Atta boy. Look at that pole being. Look at that pole. Let me get mine out of the way.
But to tempt them,
Atta boy.
the bait has to sit near the bottom of the lake or
Pull him on
pond,
in.
because these fish are bottom feeders, and they'll ignore anything that's suspended even a few inches above their heads.
Hey, look at there. What a nice... Look at that. That's a blue. Bring him over here to me. There you go. Look at that. What a nice... Look at the old catawba worm still hanging out of his mouth.
Now, brim are a slightly different story. When most fishermen say they're going after brim, they mean either redbreast, bluegill, or red ear. These fish share many of the same characteristics, but they're different enough to make each one of them worth learning about. Redbreasts, for instance, usually live in moderate to slow-running streams, and they often hide behind snags that protect them from the current. They like to feed on crickets, worms, and grubs, and they're easiest to catch in the spring and fall, when the water levels are low. You can catch bluegills in late spring, when they're spawning. These fish make white, sandy beds to lay their eggs in, and most fishermen catch them off of those beds. The experienced anglers literally follow their noses and locate the beds by tracking the sweet scent that they give off. Red ear also like to feed on worms, grubs, or crickets, especially when they're on or near the bottom. But these fish are more easily spooked than the other kinds of brim, so you need to give them plenty of time to taste the bait before you set your hook, or you'll just scare them away. Once you know a bit about the fish, you need to know how to get your gear together. Now, the simplest and the least expensive method of fishing uses nothing more than a cane pole, some line, and a hook. You can find a pole all ready to go at the local hardware store, or you can easily put one together on your own. If you choose to make your own, you start by tying a piece of line, or even just some string, onto the pole about 18 inches from the tip. Slowly wrap that line around the pole, all the way up to the end. Then, tie it off with a couple of good, strong knots. Next, slide the end of the line through some kind of cork or other floating material, something that'll bob up on top of the water. Then comes the hook. And for panfish like brim, a small hook is always the best because it fits their small mouths. But if you're fishing for crappie, you can use a slightly larger hook. And if you're after catfish, you should use an even larger hook, because a strong fish has the power to straighten a smaller hook right out, and he'll get away. After you've picked out the right hook, thread your line through the eye of the hook and tie it off with another simple knot. Then, trim any of the extra line to keep it from floating unnaturally in the water and warning off the fish. All that's left now is to add some lead to your line to give it weight. In most lakes and ponds, a small piece will be heavy enough to hold your line in place. But if you plan to fish in strong currents, you'll need to use heavier weights to keep the line from drifting away. And if you'll be trying your luck in brushy areas, you need to use a bigger line and wire hooks. That way, if you get hung up, you can easily pull your line loose and bend the hook back into shape. Once you know what to fish with and how to make it appealing to the crappie or brim or catfish that you're after, you have to make sure to put the bait where the fish are. So try your luck at different depths. If the fish aren't striking, Change the position of the float on your line to let the bait rest a little higher or a little lower in the water. The easier you make it for the fish to take a taste, the more likely you are to catch them. Experienced fishermen know that no matter how skilled they are, they're not going to catch fish every time they go out. But they don't let that discourage them. They fish for the fun of it. And they keep on experimenting, trying different kinds of bait or changing locations or varying the depth of their line. Fish are just notoriously unpredictable. But most of the time, anybody can catch them. All it takes is a little patience and a lot of interest. But if you want to improve your odds, get to know what parts of the pond the fish prefer to live in, and what they like to eat, and what time of day they're most likely to strike your bait. Because learning as much about them as you can will make you a better fisherman. And so will going fishing, because the more you do, the better you get. So go ahead. Grab your cane pole and your bait, round up your best fishing buddy, and go try your luck.
This week is National Fishing Week, and here in Georgia, we're celebrating with 3 fishing days. On Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, any Georgia resident can fish anywhere in the state without a license. All you need are your old cane pole, a couple of hooks, and a handful of worms, or maybe some crickets. Come celebrate the fun. Take a kid fishing during National Fishing Week.
There's a magic place where the sea, the land, and the sky mingle. It's a mysterious world of serendipity and serenity. The lush panorama is a paradox, desolate but vibrant.